Hola, amigos. Welcome to the Best of Mazatlan Show. My name is Mark Lickman, and I'm your host and publisher of bestofmazatlan.com, the leading digital lifestyle brand of Mazatlan, Mexico. This show will feature entrepreneurs, leaders, local businesses, nonprofits, realtors, musicians, and other stories that showcase the best of Mazatlan. As always, I'm thrilled to be with my guest, Lisa Lankins. Today's special show is dedicated to all of the events around Dia de los Muertos and all of the upcoming Cultura events that you won't want to miss. Lisa has even built a special altar for the show that is dedicated to her parents, Don and Darlene Larkins. Lisa's passion for Mazatlan shines through, and so does her passion on bringing the foreign community together and turning them on to the culture of Mazatlan and helping both cultures understand each other a little better. She is a tremendous resource for the foreign community in Mazatlan, and for the last 9 years has worked with the city of Mazatlan for DIF, CAPTA, and Cultura as an interpreter and promoter in English and as a liaison for the foreign community. Before that, she worked in the English-speaking media and now teaches a Spanish for Emergencies class. Lisa is a promoter of all the many cultural offerings that Mazatlan has to offer and has Facebook pages, What's Happening in Mazatlan and Friends of Cultura Mazatlan, that you should follow to stay current. But Lisa also has a kind heart and a warm smile and is a tremendous resource and go-to for the foreign community. Even if something is out of the realm of her responsibilities, Lisa will help direct you to someone who can help. So without further ado, welcome back to the Best of Mazatlan show, Lisa, and thanks so much for joining me.
Hi, thanks so much for inviting me. I'm very excited to be here, maybe a little nervous. But
You'll be fine. It's a special time, and I'm so happy that you could join me today with everything that's going on and the whole season coming up and so much happening. Before we get started, I'm just going to turn it over to you just to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you've been since the last time we saw each other.
Well, I don't want to open up that kind of worms, but I was very sick last year and I had a kidney removed and moved to a much better place in out in the community, not necessarily in the tourist area. I live in Sanchez Celis now, but I'm much better. I feel much better health-wise and getting better every day. So,
well, yeah. You look great. So I'm glad that's behind you now, and you're back. You're back and stronger than ever.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn things over to you because there's so much happening, and I want to make sure we get it all in to promote it. This is a special time in Mazatlan with a lot of really fun and colorful activities for everyone to enjoy. So, Toya, I don't know if you want to put that first poster up just to cue Lisa up here, but here we go.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let me just say that this season started just a couple weeks ago. It's the Festival Cultural Mazatlan which goes to the 31st of December. Well, actually, it ends like the 18th, I think, of December. But it's called the Festival for the fall season, or winter season, and it's celebrating its 30th anniversary this year.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Raul Rico, has been a huge promoter for Mazatlan and has done it through this festival. And so to start off, we this coming Friday is Art Walk, and Art Walk, I want to say, is something like 16 years old now or something. But so the Camino del Arte has a new administrator, and it is, I think it's a little bit longer time wise, but still a walk through the Centro Histórico. Many artists, you can go to workshops, you can go to studios, and also, to galleries all over Centro Histórico for, to purchase things or just enjoy the art, have a little bit of wine. That's what they like to do. And it's the first Friday of every month through April. So very important thing to start off this year. It is happening really soon.
Yeah, it's a fantastic event, you know, and I'm happy to see in that poster all the sponsors. That sponsor list keeps getting bigger every year, but it's a
Yeah,
whole event in Mazatlan. It's a great opportunity for people to meet the artists, you know, buy the art. It's just a fantastic event, and I really encourage anybody who's in Mazatlan. It's every month, and you shouldn't miss it.
yeah, for sure. You shouldn't miss it. You know, it has so much to see. You can't really do it all in one you know, evening anyway. You have to do several to see all of it.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree. All right,
Yeah.
it's
So
floor is yours.
well, so I want to go on with the grand events. We are going to talk about Dia de Muertos, and I'm saving that, which is just the day after tomorrow on the 1st, and or tomorrow, I should say, gosh, on the 1st. And so we're going to talk about that at the end. But with the grand events, which are the major concerts and events they have at the theater for this festival, they start on this Saturday on the 4th, which is called Paisajes Insondables, which is a show put on, also 30th anniversary for Delfos, put on by Delfos Danza Contemporáneo. And so that show is at the theater at 8 o'clock p.m., and it's highlighting two different pieces by the co-directors. One is called, oh my gosh, I forgot what they're called already. One is called, well, anyway, I'll get back to it if I think of it. So it's two different dance pieces in the same show. It starts at 8 o'clock p.m.
Fantastic.
The next is on the 10th, which is called Destino Tchaikovsky. And Destino Tchaikovsky starts at 8 o'clock also at the theater. Tickets are available, of course, now, anytime for all of these. The 12th is Bodas de Mexico. Bodas de Mexico is a dance, you know, with the dance, baile folclórico of cultura. And it's at 8 o'clock on the 12th. Bodas means wedding. So it's dances typically seen at weddings in Mexico, traditional weddings.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, I think. And so on the
before you go on, Lisa, if for those that are watching the show, if you're watching, please like and share the show and send in any questions you might have for Lisa about any of these events. To send in your questions, you can do it on your Facebook page. And if you're watching later, and the show is going to be posted on bestofmazatlan.com, as well as on the bestofmazatlan.com YouTube page, and it's on Lisa's pages now as well. But if you have any comments or questions for Lisa, please send them in now, and please like and share the show. Thanks, Lisa. Back to you.
Okay, I just thought of the show. Going back to the Delfos thing, it's Mínimo and Oxido are the two pieces that'll be shown, and they were both created by the co-directors of the dance team. So anyway, so then moving on. The 12th was Bodas de Mexico. The 17th and 19th of November is the Bodas de Figaro, which of course it has the same wording again. It's the Wedding of Figaro, and it's an opera at 8 o'clock p.m. and it's on 2 shows, both at 8 o'clock. So let's see. Then we have on November 24th and 25th, we have Mo's Arts. You know, play on words there. It's actually an opera cabaret. They're using they're going to be sharing like 3 or 4 different operas, but adding some cabaret into it. So it's going to be fun.
Wow, I've never heard of such a thing. That's fantastic.
One, yeah. And that's at 8 o'clock also at the Angelo Peralta Theater. Then we're going to be going on to December, which, of course, December 1st and 2nd are Cascanueces. Cascanueces is, of course, the Nutcracker. It's traditional in Mazatlan. I don't even know how many years they do it every single year. Mm-hmm. With the amazing maestra Zoila Fernandez, who is, you know, she's been the director of ballet and of Cultura Arts for a while, and like over 20 years. So she's very good at what she does. And so it's a beautiful thing, using all the students and the professional dancers together. And I wouldn't miss that either. December 8th and 9th is a very exciting event which is called Bewitching Broadway. Bewitching Broadway is, of course, kind of focused on the foreign community because it's highlighting music from Broadway shows. They're bringing an actual performer who has been many times to Mazatlan from New York City, Scott. He has been here several times to do shows, and I can't wait to see him in this one. Those shows are, let me see if I've got a time on that. Yeah, 8 o'clock. It's for both nights. And then the last one that's actually highlighted in the major events is the Gala Navideña, which is the Christmas gala. It's on the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th of December. So Friday and Saturday it's 8 p.m. and on Sunday it's at 6 p.m. So that is 3 shows. Of course, they use hundreds of art students and professional artists. They have in the lobby, it's traditional. They have all kinds of Christmas treats after the show, and it's a very fun thing to see. I always love this time of year, and it's always decorated to the hilt. They have an expression in Mexico that's usando, let me see if I can think of it, long tablecloths, manteles largas, which means that they're using long tablecloths. It's an expression meaning they're getting fancy. They're celebrating with style. We don't have a similar expression in English.
No, I like that though.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. You can get your tickets, of course, at the theater box office, like always. And then we also have a brand new thing, which is on WhatsApp. You can buy your tickets on WhatsApp, and also join the WhatsApp Cultura Mazatlan page if you like. To sell the tickets, or to buy the tickets, on WhatsApp, you need the number 669-120-0020, and either now or later she'll put that on the screen. So
yeah, it's on the screen right now, Lisa. You can see it there, everybody who's watching. And this is fantastic, Lisa, that you have this WhatsApp feature now for tickets. It's really very convenient, and I hope people take advantage of it, because this is something new that you haven't had in the past, and it makes things real easy.
Yeah, once you register with WhatsApp, it's not going through a computer. You're actually sending a message to a person in Cultura, and they might not get back to you the moment you send it. They might send a message to you a little later, and you can buy your tickets, and you'll receive your tickets online. So you can do them internationally. If you can, call Mexico on your phone, you can do it during using WhatsApp, which is free, right? Yeah. So it's a great way to get your tickets. And
it really is. It really is. And I want to encourage everybody. Each of these performances are really all special in their own right. Mazatlan has so many great cultural events, but if you haven't been to a performance or a concert at Angela Peralta Theater, you need to get there, because it's a very special historic theater in Mazatlan. And as if each performance wasn't special in its own right, the theater even enhances that even more. So if you're someone who hasn't been there before, please take advantage of the new WhatsApp feature that they have. Get a ticket. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a part of the special experience of Mazatlan, and any one of these performances would be fantastic to attend. And there's so many cultural events in Mazatlan, and the Peralta Theater is definitely the place to see a good chunk of it.
That was that's the short list of events, the major events that we have. There's actually 84 events during this season, during these 3 months, and you can find them all on the website, which is www.culturamazatlan.com, and the calendar is called the Cartelera. So you'll see underneath the main, when you go to that website, you'll see Cartelera written underneath its main title, among other things. And so just click on Cartelera, and it'll drop down, but it'll be on the current month. And so if you want to see the next month's, you have to change the month and hit buscar, which means find, and then it will go to the next month's events, and they're all listed there, including the prices. So it's a pretty good way to get information.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, in addition to that, you have Lisa's Facebook pages where she's constantly Friends of Cultura, um, where she also promotes these events ahead of when they're coming up. So,
Yeah,
uh,
Cultura, they have a whole department dedicated to multimedia. And so they have, they're on Facebook. They have something like 9 pages altogether, but that includes the school and the orchestra, the theater, Casa Haas, main Cultura page, Cultura Mazatlan. So all of these pages are written in Spanish, usually daily. I go in and translate several of them that are important for the foreign community and promote them on Facebook, but they're also on Instagram, as we just talked about, on WhatsApp.
mhm.
And they're also in the local papers. Most of the local papers have information about upcoming events. I just started doing an article 2 months ago for the new owners of the Pacific Pearl magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so my article is called "The Music Mecca of Mexico." So
Yes.
yeah, so I've called it that for like 15 years, but I'm a big fan of music. And my pages on Facebook, actually my WhatsApp or What's Happening isn't my page. I'm on
Oh,
it, but what my page is called Mazatlán. So
oh, yeah. I saw that. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, Muziclan, and that's Mazatlán. It's a Facebook page where you go to it, and anything I know about that's currently happening the day of or later, when I see it, I share there. So you have to move down the page. You go there and then move down, and you can see things that are, published by the artists and also the bars and restaurants where live music and live events are happening. And it's free. I've done it for now almost 8 years, I think, and I
Wow.
have 1,700 followers. And so it's a good place for information, but it's not as easy as just go and see everything in a list, right? You have to move down the page to find them. But
Well, good for
it's
you, because there's so much music happening in Mazatlan right now. You need
yeah,
a page like that just to be able to follow it. There's just, it's everywhere, which is fantastic. It's what really sets the arts and music and just the energy in Mazatlan is really what sets it apart from.
and I like doing it because I can my passion is kind of to help our two cultures understand each other. So I promote Mexican music and Mexican events as well as the English speaking ones. So you can have a choice and you can also see what everybody's doing, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and there's some of them are only in Spanish and some of them are only in English, but everybody has Google Translate, so I don't worry too much about that. I do, of course, on the Cultura pages, I translate those, but
Right.
um, I want everybody to understand how to use those two things, WhatsApp and Google Translate, on their phone or on their computer.
Yep.
But
Fantastic.
anyway, what's next? What have I got? Let me look at my notes really quick.
Lisa, while you're doing that, so
Okay.
they can use WhatsApp to buy tickets. Is there another, if they don't do that, is there another way they can buy tickets?
Just
That's
like going to the theater. They
okay.
have to go to the Anthropological Theater ticket office.
Got it. Okay.
hmm
I just want to make sure people can.
So that brings us to Day of the Dead for Cultura Mazatlan, right? You can cue the posters, for the Calle Joneada and Leyendas del Arte. So we can stay on this photo for a moment. Leyendas del Arte is the theme of this year's Day of the Dead, Dia de Muerte. Dia de Muertos, sorry. And so Leyendas del Arte means legends of art. So what they decided to do this year is to celebrate people who've passed on, who have left a huge footprint in Mazatlan in the arts, which I think is a very cool idea.
Yeah, that
And
is.
so every department, or every place it decided to do a different person. I mean, as far as the tour through Angela Peralta Theater is all about the artists. And so will many of the displays for the Calle Joneada be concentrated on the artists. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So the Legends of Art through the theater is on the 1st, on Wednesday night. You have to have a ticket. They're all gone. You have to have a free ticket. They gave them away yesterday. They had a record-breaking number. The line.
I saw the crowds in the line. I couldn't believe it.
I know, way around the block. They only were giving 2 tickets per person. They gave away something like, last year, they didn't say this year. Last year, there was like 4,000 tickets that they gave away. Yeah. And so it's a very popular thing. It's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. If you have a chance to get a ticket, or if you in the future, you have to stand in line or send somebody to stand in line at 5 in the morning, to get your tickets. It's totally worth it. It's a beautiful thing. And then the callejoneada, there's been a lot of confusion, but it seems to me there is every single year. And I'll tell you why in a second. But so the callejoneada is on the 1st, starts at 8 o'clock in around about Machado Square. I'm not sure exactly on what street, but it'll start there and kind of go around through the streets of the Centro Histórico. There's a map there. And those numbers are the altars that have registered. There might be more than this, but so a certain number of businesses or even some private people, I think, went ahead and registered with Cultura to be on the walk. So on the callejoneada, callejon, calle is street and callejon is like an alley. So a callejoneada is like to wander through the streets and alleys. So that's the traditional parade, if you will. Parades to me are a lot bigger. They have big floats, and there might be some float type things, but they're much smaller in the callejoneada. And this is the traditional one. So we got away from the tradition for like 2 or 3 years. Can't even remember now because of COVID, right? So there are so many people in Centro Histórico for the traditional callejoneada that because of COVID, they decided to make it a parade on the Malecón so they could control the crowds, and it was more open air.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did that for a few years, and now they are back to the traditional callejoneada. Back in the day, and this is even when I first got here, I got here after you, so I got into Mazatlan full time though in 2006. Okay. They used to have donkey carts, 2 of them with big beer kegs. Or kegs of beer, and they were giving away free beer. And everybody was painted as calavera, which is not necessarily the Katrina, but it's a skeleton, and they followed the beer trucks in their own cups, and they got free beer. And it's not just a big drunk. I've never really seen anybody have a fight or get thrown in jail for being drunk in Mexico. Although I've seen drunks, I'm not saying that, but it's they're not usually violent drunks in Mexico.
Right. No, you're right.
Yeah. So anyway, no, it's more of a fun thing. And now then they switched it over to trucks. So now they have, because they thought that the donkeys it was cruel to the donkeys. So they now have it, big beer trucks. I remember one of my funnest memories with Cultura is one year Raul Rico rode in one truck and he let me ride in the other. So I was like, waving from the beer truck. It was so much fun.
I love it. Queen for the day.
Yeah. Well, I can't, I have trouble. I can't speak English. I have trouble walking sometimes. Or standing on my feet for a long time. So it was something that I really wanted to be able to see, but what's a better way than to be in it, right?
Yeah, so exactly.
I was really thrilled that he offered that. But anyway, no, it's so much fun. And so the thing is, though, is typical to Mexico. The tradition is not to announce the map, the route of the callejoneada until the week before. They did it. They announced it 6 days prior, and I had my biggest job in those for like a couple weeks was telling people they don't have the map out yet because they wanted to make reservations in advance, and it was really worrisome. I made reservations. I mean, literally, as an employee, I had no idea. I made reservations at Macaw's because I knew that was traditionally one of the spaces, even though the map hadn't been announced yet, because I didn't want to be left without a place, right?
Right.
So that's what I was telling people is, if you saw it someplace before, and I'm not talking recently because, last year it was on the Malecón in Los Altos. that didn't count. It has to be the traditional route, from before.
Right.
So anyway, they announced it finally, and there's going to be a lot of altars. The altars are beautiful. Some of them are huge, and so they're all along the route. I never know if I should say route or route, to be honest with you. But anyway, so you just go into whatever place is open with they're so gorgeous, and it's a very fun thing. I do want to talk about a couple of things, right? So I mentioned there is a difference between a calavera, which is a skeleton, and a Catrina. So Catrina, that's the original Catrina. Thank you for putting that up. The original Catrina is a lithograph from 1910 that was done by, let me find his name on here, Jose Guadalupe Posada. And he was a political cartoonist in Mexico City. And he originally drew this, they didn't call them Catrinas then, they called them calaveras. This one to look as it was dressed like a European. And it was a political statement because back then the wealthy Mexicans tried to not look Mexican. They would use white makeup and dress European to kind of like kind of forget their roots, their indigenous roots in Mexico. And it was upsetting for some people, right? So he wanted to draw a skeleton showing that we were all the same on the inside, which was such a brilliant idea back then, right? And so I've recently posted something about it, so I want the foreign community to understand what they're saying when they dress as a calavera. I didn't mean that, I'm not going to judge you, and, it's not a terrible thing to do, but I want you to do it with a clean, conscious understanding that you're making a political statement when you dress as a calavera. So it's not something that they've ever said we can't do, because it is true that the Catrina has now become a representation, of Day of the Dead. But the actual history is what I was just talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So there's both. There's calaveras, which is just dressing as a skeleton, and then there's Catrinas, which are the ones that are, the political statement. So I'm all for collecting the art. I'm all for, learning the history. Mexico has such a rich history in so many things, but including, of course, Day of the Dead, which is the celebration is over 3,000 years old. So I wanted people to understand about that. What else can I tell you about the calavera? Let me look at my notes again. Oh, I wanted to say that in 2008, UNESCO voted Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, an intangible cultural heritage of Mexico. So it's now part of UNESCO. It's like protected, right? Mm-hmm. And so to me, part of that is to try not to confuse Day of the Dead with Halloween. Right. Now, granted, they're kind of mixed in together, and they can be confused because they both sometimes have, Halloween, there's skeletons as well. But there really is nothing meant to be scary about Day of the Dead. And Halloween, of course, is all about the scary part, right? Right. So, or the evil and the, I don't know. Day of the Dead is not that. Day of the Dead is an invitation, and a welcoming, an excitement, and a show of affection for loved ones who have gone on. They do believe, or they did believe, that they come back and visit you on Day of the Dead. And they put up altars similar to what I have, or much bigger, or they can be much more simple as well, to invite their loved ones to come back and visit them at night, right? So I also hope people take an opportunity to read a little bit more about what I've just said, and learn the history of it, because it's more similar to our Memorial Day than it is to Halloween. And they are starting, when I moved here in 2006, and you'd mentioned it as well, there really wasn't Halloween. There was maybe a little bit. They had a little, you might find a few costumes in the store, but it was all kind of new in 2006.
Yeah, it was. When I moved in 1998, I remember, because my son was like 4, and we thought, oh my God, there's no Halloween. But a friend of ours said, well, on this block, they do Halloween. So right. We went on that block, and it was the, queremos Halloween, queremos
Yeah, that's
Halloween.
it. They said
But that
queremos.
was it. It was like a little snippet of Halloween because the rest of it was all about.
Yeah, here they don't say trick or treat. They say queremos Halloween, which means we want Halloween.
We want Halloween. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think my son, he was only 4, but I think he still remembers that.
Yeah. And a lot of the forum community enjoys going to the Plaza Machado. And there in Plaza Machado, you can bring bags of candy, and little kids will go table to table trick-or-treating on Halloween night. I don't know what time that starts, but I think it's, pretty early, like at 5 or something, because they're all the little kids, right?
Right.
And so it's hard to get a table down there, but it's a lot of fun.
That's nice that they do
for
that.
Halloween, yeah. And then I think tonight, this has nothing to do with Cultura Mazatlan, but I think Cultura Sinaloa, which their headquarters in Mazatlan is in the art museum, the Museo de Arte. They're having like I don't even know what time, but you can look on their Facebook page. They're having a zombie walk.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, today I think. Yeah, I think today. And but like I said, I'm not really a big fan of confusing the two at all. Right?
Yeah, I agree with you. The Day of the Dead stands on its own as its own special.
Yeah. And the police, even this year, I've never seen it before, and I've worked with them for a while. The police even published something saying you will be fined if you decorate your car with blood and stuff that looks like you might have committed a murder.
Wow.
I mean, we've seen those decorations on people's cars, right? With and stuff like that.
I wouldn't have thought of it, but since you mentioned it, it's kind of funny.
Like, wow, that's interesting. I'd never seen them do that before.
No, I never did either. Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about. What time is it? I think we have a little bit of time, right?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, good. We have. I want to talk about the altars. And so I don't know if you can see my altar very much. Mine is missing one part of it. Usually they have stuff on the floor. They have sawdust on the floor and marigold petals and a big cross and all this stuff on the floor, which helps guide the spirits or the souls to your altar. I didn't do that because I have a cat. I didn't think that sawdust on the floor was a good idea.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, but so what do you include in your altar? There's like 3 different kinds you can make. One with 3 levels, one with 7 levels, which is what mine has, and some that have 12 levels. And
wow,
I can't tell you what they all mean, but all the information is on online. You can find that information. So I've seen people just do them all on one level as well, like on a mantle or a shelf, or on a table somewhere. So they have photos of the loved ones that you want to dedicate it to. They have candles and incense. Those things do a couple things, but mostly they show them where to come to, and they also give a scent, to help them find it by smell, right? They have water, which will help soothe the thirst of the souls. They have marigolds, which is kind of like the official flower for Day of the Dead. Because of the smell and the color, they help also draw in those spirits that you want to have visit you to visit. They have sweets. Sugar skulls, for instance, they represent the sweetness of life. And they can also favorite foods of the people that you are remembering. So I didn't go all out, but I have an orange and I have an avocado. I forgot to put the lentils on for my dad, which is a very common thing to put on. He liked tequila. I have some shot glasses back there with some tequila in them. The tissue paper. The cut tissue paper is also it's meaning like air, and it also is kind of like if I can get this out right. The difference between the 2 worlds, right, is like as thin as paper, right? And there's got holes in it so they can pass through. let me see. The pan de muerto, the bread, right? The Day of the Dead bread. Actually, what it represents is the little circle on the top of it is the skull, and the two crosses are the bones of the dead. So that's why they call it that. It is sweet, of course, and it also can be used as a favorite food if you want to. I have a little pile of salt, which is very common. Some people have bigger piles of salt, which is to purify the spirit and protect from evil spirits. I have a glass of water, very common thing to find. It's to quench the thirst of the spirits that are be visiting. And then whatever other, kinds of, I have some others that are just decorative things on there for fun. So that's what the ofrendas are. The ofrenda, they call them, or an altar. So I'd love to see pictures of when you guys do see my this video. If you want to post some pictures of your ofrendas or your altars, that would be amazing. And also, I highly recommend that you go, this tomorrow, the 1st, to Centro Histórico. And if you don't get a space, you can paint your face as a Catrina and walk around, or you can find a good place to see the world go by, because it's a very fun thing. It isn't going to pass in Los Altos, if you see the map. It isn't passing through Los Altos, but there will be people walking around there, of course. I have a funny story to tell about Dia de Muertos. So when I first worked in the park in Plaza Zaragoza, my assistant, Gil, who does my hair and all that, he is a makeup artist, and he did a lot of people's faces, and he asked me one day, do you want me to paint your face for Dia de Muertos? And I said, sure, that'll be fun, as a calavera, as a skeleton. So he worked really hard, and he painted my face all up, and then I looked at myself in the mirror, and I just laughed hysterically, because who's ever seen a chubby skeleton? Right? I'm like, I will never do that again.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it is funny.
So, do you have any other questions? I mean, I ran out of time, which I can't hardly believe. I ran out of information because I can't hardly believe it. I had so much stuff to talk about.
No. This was fantastic, Lisa. You've given us some fantastic information about just a really, truly special time in Mazatlan and a great season ahead of the Cultural Festival. And just really appreciate you coming here today and telling us all about it. And I think that new WhatsApp feature for people to get tickets is fantastic, and I hope people do take advantage of it. Before we end the show, I just want to turn it over to you one last time in case there's anything you want to add, or just for you to say whatever you want.
Okay, well, I would like to just say that I am so appreciative, grateful for a couple of things, and one of them is to still be working for Cultura after almost 10 years, and the other one is to have the confidence or be trusted by the foreign community with the information that I share. I appreciate that so much, and I feel like I personally am not that important of a person, but the job itself is really important, and I totally respect that, and I feel just like one of the luckiest people in the world to do what I do. And it's definitely a passion for me. So I always want to say thank you to Mazatlan. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You do a fantastic job. You do a great service to the foreign community in Mazatlan and to Mazatlan itself in promoting it. And I really appreciate you being here today again. I want to keep having you on because you're just full of fantastic information.
I know what you meant by that, Mark. I'm full.
Oh, here we got Joanne Queries coming on saying very informative, and thank you, Lisa. So people appreciate it out there, Lisa. And
you're so welcome.
Yeah, I'm so glad you could come on. And before I sign off, I'm going to sign off my Best of Mazatlan show as I always do. We all have choices in life. Choose love, not hate. Choose positive, not negative. And always remember the glass is half full. And if you're lucky, it'll be half full of tequila from La Sasuna. Stay tuned for an announcement on the next Best of Mazatlan show. Adios, amigos. And thank you again, Lisa, for another great show. Take care,
Of course,
everybody.
thank you. Adios. Cuídense.
Adios.
Bye-bye.